Hey everybody, thanks so much for checking out Branch Out Guitar. I'm John, and today we're going to be talking about power chords, so let's get started. So power chords are a simplified version of the major and minor chords that you may or may not already know. In fact, they're not even major or minor just because there's only two notes within that chord. There's a root and a fifth, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So there's two versions of a power chord that we can start with. So you could pick any note on either the fifth or sixth string, and you would use these two fingerings here to play a power chord. So we'll start here on the third fret of the sixth string, which is the G note. Okay. Now, in order to get a power chord, all you're going to do is starting here at the third fret, you'll go 2 frets higher, so we'll be on the fifth fret, and then we're going to play the note on the next string over. So third fret of the sixth string, and then fifth fret of the fifth string. That's a power chord. You can use that same shape if you move over to the fifth string. So if I play here at the third fret of the fifth string, that's the note C. And then I use the same shape. I go 2 frets higher, 1 string over, and then I've got my C power chord. So this would be G, this would be C. Now the other thing that you can do to enhance that power chord to get a little bit more sound out of it is you would double the lower note with an upper octave. So the shapes fits really nicely on the guitar here. So you would start here with the 2 notes that we had before with G, a G power chord, and then you would just add the note at the fifth fret, or the same fret underneath your ring finger here on the next string over. So in this case it would be the fifth fret of the fourth string. So the note here on the sixth string and the note on the fourth string are the same actual notes, the note G, but just in different octaves. And then again, you could use that same shape as you go over to the fifth string to double up that sound as well, double up that chord. As an example here, if I played just a regular G chord, it's G to C, a little folkier sound, singer-songwriter, anything like that. I could also play the same thing to get with power chords, the same chords, G and C, but it gets a little bit more rockin' sound, you know. So it's not just a simplified version because it's easier to play, but it's also a stylistic thing that you could also use to enhance whatever you're playing there. Now the big thing about using a power chord that you're going to have to learn how to do is to learn the names of the notes on the sixth string and the fifth string. And there's an easy trick to doing that. Our musical alphabet goes between the notes A and G. So we would go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we'd start over with another octave, just the same way that we had here, G to G. That pattern would continue on in the upper octave. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now between every pair of adjacent notes, A and B, C to D, D to E, F to G, and G back to A, as you get up into that upper octave, the distance between those notes is a whole step, which is 2 frets. So say if I'm here on G, if I want to go up and start back over into that A sequence, I would go 1 step higher, and then I've got my A note. And it goes the other direction as well. If I was on G and if I went a whole step lower, I would get to that next letter, which is F. F comes before G. So you notice as I was naming those adjacent pairs of notes that I skipped over B and C and E and F. Those are the 2 exceptions to the whole step rule, in that there's only a half step in between them. So say I went up G and I was up to A like I just did, and then the next one would be A to B. Okay, now I get to B and C. That's one of those exceptions. It's just a half step, which is 1 fret. And then from there C to D, and then D to E, and then E to F. That's the other exception. Now the beauty of that pattern, whole step and half step pattern, those adjacent pairs of adjacent notes, is that no matter where you're playing those notes on the guitar, it's always that distance. It might not always be that same sound because you might be in a different octave, but at the same time, it's always that same pattern. So if you're playing power chords, you can use those distances. You know, if I know where G is, then it becomes very easy to know where A and F are, because those are the two notes that surround G, right? We all know our alphabet, I'm assuming. And again, you can use that pattern in order to find other notes that you might not necessarily, you know that they exist, but you need to find exactly where they are on the guitar. So using that half step and whole step pattern with those pairs of notes makes it a lot easier. So that's it for power chords. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get more great guitar information. You can comment and share below, and definitely be sure to check out branchoutguitar.com for more information. We'll see you next time.